FTX executives are trying to claw back hundreds of millions of dollars in cash from bank accounts as they seek to resolve the position of the collapsed crypto exchange. Its creditors were told today. Joining us now to discuss the headlines is James Murphy. He's a founding partner at law firm Murphy and McGonigal and a veteran financial services lawyer. Hello there, James. Thanks for joining us. So we had an FTX creditor meeting today. I'm not sure if you had a chance to hear it, but would love to hear some of your takeaways.
Yes, great to be on with you again. I was listened in to the whole thing, the creditors meeting. Not a lot of news broke there. I think that some of the creditors were a little bit disappointed that John J. Ray, the CEO, was not there present to answer questions. He had one of his subordinates, the CFO, attend and answer questions. So a little bit of disappointment there. Highlights, they did say that so far they haven't identified any secured creditors. That's actually significant because unsecured creditors are paid after secured creditors. So there was a lot of wondering without a lot of information whether some significant secured creditors would appear on the scene and would be in line to take distributions from the bankruptcy estate before the unsecured creditors, who are, almost exclusively account holders in the millions. So that was good news. They said that they had secured around $750 million in cash, but that number is not perfectly meaningful until we understand what the liabilities are. And unfortunately, they said they won't be in a position to file a statement of assets and liabilities until mid-April. So, you can't do the math that so many creditors want to do. Well, if they have this much assets and this much creditor deposits, that adds up to X cents on the dollar. We don't have the data to do that just yet. So people are still anxious about all of this.
I believe some of the reasoning behind that was that there was no reliable bookkeeping at FTX, so they're still scrambling to find information, records, and the like. CoinDesk is also reporting that FTX will look to retrieve voluntary payments from third parties, possibly including Sam Bankman-Fried's political donations. Any knowledge of that, and even its venture funds? It was understood that we just reported today that he gave $400 million away to a couple of ex-Jane Street traders. Could that be possibly clawed back?
Could possibly, yes. So first, on the political contributions, it appears that the debtors are working with the U.S. Attorney's Office that's prosecuting Sam Bankman-Fried, because the U.S. Attorney, Damian Williams, was very clear in his press conference that he's coming for that money that the campaigns received either directly from Sam or one of Sam's controlled entities, or through proxies or people that Sam gave the money to with the express purpose that they give it to candidates. And that, what I just described, is illegal, and it's one of the counts in the indictment. So with respect to the venture capital investors, that's a complicated analysis, because the venture capitalists were constantly or periodically investing more and more actual cash into FTX. And it is true that, somewhat oddly, Sam invested back in one or more of the VCs to a significant extent, in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So there's a question of, is that going to be netted out, or is that money that Sam invested going to be clawed back without any particular counterclaim by the VCs? And then finally, on the VCs, I fully expect that they are going to bring claims against FTX and against Sam. Claims against FTX will be in the bankruptcy, since Sam kind of surprisingly is still not declared bankruptcy himself. He can be sued at any time. And so
when you say FTX, do you mean FTX Group and all of its affiliates therein, which could include FTX US, the venture funds, et cetera?
Right. So the venture funds will sue FTX, the parent, whatever entity they received equity for when they made their investments. And they're going to have a pretty good boost to their case because it's part of the indictment. So the prosecutor in New York has already said that that's securities fraud, that misrepresentations that were made by Sam to investors in FTX equity. So we're not talking about customers. We're talking about big VC firms that were putting money into FTX as an investment.
Interesting.
The prosecutor said they've been defrauded and were told things that weren't true, which really boosts, their case against FTX.
One final question before we wrap up, but we're learning that Sam Bankman-Fried has another hearing scheduled at 11 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, which is interesting because he had a hearing on Monday, which caused a lot of confusion. People thought that he would waive his right to extradition, but apparently his lawyers were caught off guard. They entered the courtroom very confused, saying this hearing was very premature. He had a chat, and the lawyer said, we're not fully aligned with Sam's U.S. lawyers, and we need to read the U.S. indictment. Any comments on how this legal proceeding is headed?
Well, so many episodes of this have been stranger than fiction. What happened was, over the weekend, the story leaked that Sam wanted out. Sam was going to waive his opposition to extradition, and it was everywhere in major media as well as on Twitter. So you have a hearing on Monday, and it seems like the only person who knew nothing about this was Sam's lawyer in the Bahamas, and said he had no idea.
In your experience, does that strike you as odd?
It's very odd. This is the most important client this person will ever have in his entire life. Sam is the most famous inmate in any jail in the world right now, and it's all over the news that he wants out. He wants to be extradited to New York, and his lawyer says, I don't know anything about it. So it was a big waste of time. And Sam, for those, we had reports from people right there in the courtroom saying Sam was saying very loudly and very clearly to his lawyer, I want out right now, today. And the lawyer was not having it. And so, they're having these huddles with the lawyers in New York, and there is paperwork. I mean, there is process that is required, and that apparently is happening today. And what we're told is it's all going to be buttoned up and signed off on by the judge tomorrow, and Sam could be on a plane very quickly thereafter.
I guess Fox Hill Jail is very unpleasant. James, thank you so much for your time. That was Murphy and McGonigal founder James Murphy.